Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to today's Planning Committee, Heritage Committee meeting for Thursday, October 13th. Called the meeting to order. Declarations of conflict of interest, none. Approval of the agenda. We do have one thing.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, could I just add an issue regarding the summary offense ticketing
Yes.
process project?
Summary. Everybody go with that? Okay, thank you. So we'll add summary offense ticketing under new business, or I guess it'll be old business, really. We'll put on a new anyway, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. So I need approval for the agenda, moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Mayor Brown. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Adoption of the minutes for Wednesday, August the 31st. I'll need a mover and a seconder for those if you have a chance. Good. Moved by Councillor Yankoff, seconded by Councillor McCabe. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Good, thank you. And business arising from those minutes. Do we have anything? I see none. Great. Okay, so we'll go right into discussions, and 6A is the public benefit for 199 Grafton, PID 342790, and I heard Alex first, I guess. Okay, Alex, you're off to the races.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an application for a public benefit as it pertains to 199 Grafton Street. That's the six-story proposal behind the clinic on Grafton Street. And this had all gone through the process. It's a six-story building. There was 2 additional floors that were provided through density bonusing. And as a requirement in the zoning bylaw, that you have to satisfy a public benefit, and that public benefit is defined. It's in your report in regard to how it's calculated, but it's it's by floor area, and then there's a number that is calculated in regard to what that public benefit requirement number should be. And in this case, the number is approximately $160,000 that the applicant needs to satisfy. In the zoning bylaw, there's a suite of issues that you can choose from in regard to providing a public benefit. In the report, I've reinserted at the time that this application went through. The applicant was APM on behalf of Pat Morse, who is the owner. But at the time the applicant dealt with this through there was a site-specific amendment application on this property. They indicated to go after some CMHC housing, enhanced on-site parking with additional public use parking for the downtown core, characteristic design that plays on aspects of surrounding the neighborhood, that's design, higher than normal environmental efficiency standards and design, and addition of green space where the new footprint or existing parking lot is not required. So on some of those things apply in the zoning bylaw, some of them don't. The 2 that do apply are clearly the affordable housing and then the normal than the higher than normal environmental efficiency standards and design. So again, if you look at the public benefits section, they refer to LEED standards. LEED is a standard that's upgrades to building design to make the building much more efficient and save energy and deal with issues pertaining to basically a higher efficiency building. I would note that the National Building Code is a minimum standard, and in this case, whether it's LEED or this other standard, Green Globes is what the applicant is proposing. They are designed to integrate, again, much more expensive energy efficient standards into the building that would not normally be required. So as an attachment, I've included the components dealing with Green Globes. And again, in our own requirements in the zoning bylaw, it specifically refers to LEED, or it says or an equivalent. Green Globes is an equivalent type of a standard, and what it is, in order to get these certain Green Globe accreditation, you have to meet the standard. They've utilized a local consultant that can do that work, and that's Orange Door. And Orange Door, that's an appendices to your document as well. They're indicating that this work would cost approximately $600,000 to do these upgrades. So this individual, this engineer would oversee that work, prepare a report prior to the occupancy on this project, indicating what has been established, the costing that was attributed to those upgrades, and then we would be able to discern whether they've met their requirement. Again, I would allude to the fact that this upgrade will be significantly more than the public benefit, which is about $160,000. And they are also indicating that they will provide 12 affordable housing units. The developer isn't here, but I think, if I could speak on their behalf, I think they would prefer to utilize this provision because of the timing and when certain approvals can be granted to them for the affordable, to tap into the affordable housing program. But they can clearly meet their requirement, as it pertains to the bylaw, using the Green Globe standards. So, from the staff point of view, we've reviewed this. We're prepared to work with the developer. If this committee is in agreement, we will finalize the development agreement on this property, outlining what has been decided by this committee as accepting as a public standard, and we'll integrate it into the development agreement. And then hopefully this project can get going, and they can move towards getting a building permit. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any questions? I'm here to answer.
Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, very detailed, thank you. Any questions, concerns from the committee?
I think more just a comment. We know that this project was unanimously supported by our council to proceed. And I know Councillor Yankoff has pushed hard to kind of keep it on the forefront. And it's exciting to see the green aspect, because I think as a city, we certainly want to see that growing. So maybe this is a lead by example, and other people will start to take opportunity with that. So great work, and I'm excited to see this moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Oh, sorry, Councillor Yanka.
Yeah, just to reiterate, Councillor McCabe, this project, yes, I'm very excited to see this go forward, being that it's in Ward 1 and it's going to provide a lot of necessary housing that we need. So it's nice to see that we are proceeding in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this project, and Alex, again, thank you to the department. We've had issues with the affordable tax incentive program on this project. We had to resolve that, and we did resolve it because it went under the old program.
Right.
Of what you remember, I'm sure that you're quite aware of, Mr. Chair. And also, the 12 units that are affordable, they'll be using the CMHC definition for affordability, correct, Mr. Forbes?
Yeah, we're not there yet with them. I mean, we've the CAO and I have been discussing with them. It is their intent, so we will hopefully be able to finalize that as a part of the development agreement in regard to which program they're tapping into. But I can't definitively indicate other than that it is their intent to provide 12 affordable units.
And, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at Green Building Initiative, so this is what Green Globe falls under. So LEED is not new to the city. Remember, you recall, Donna, when we built the Gene Canfield. That was a LEED Platinum, I think. It went to the highest level of LEED construction. So it's good to see that we're looking at Green Globe is equivalent to LEED, but the requirements, the standards are no different than what we're looking at LEEDs. Correct, Mr. Forbes?
I'm not an expert on either of them, and clearly, the engineer that we will be working with, or that will prepare the report, will give us an assessment as to what's been upgraded. But LEED was the original standard, and then a number of other companies got into the space, And so, there's differing, standards they have inside of their programs. The key thing is, in order to meet the standard, somebody has to go in and then give them the globe. It's just, so you have to meet the standard of this program, and then, which is nice for the public benefits, is then we can attribute how much of an upgrade did that cost to do that additional work. So, they're comparable programs. I think there are other programs out there, but I think Green Globes is a pretty popular standard. And, again, the bylaw clearly indicated is in under the public benefits or an equivalent program, which this is clearly equivalent.
And, Mr. Chair, because there's no motion on the floor, we're not subjected to 2 questions, so could I ask a couple more questions? So, Alex, on the QA, quality assurance, will that be conducted by Orange Door? Is that, and plus, added question to that, Orange Door, do they have a local office?
Yes, it's my understanding that this individual is local he signed the letter in the back. He's from Charlottetown.
Okay.
And if you go on the website, you can see some of the projects on his website that he has overseen, larger project in other provinces.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so all we're looking for here is just the acceptance of this to go, I believe, Alex? So no
Yeah,
need to
if you accept it, then it moves on to, for me to prepare, finalize the development agreement. And really, this step is giving the CAO and the mayor the ability to sign the agreement, indicating that this committee has concurred that what is being proposed is an acceptable public benefit. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Don Waddell, CAO.
I believe we do need a motion on this. It says the city, a recommendation from planning committee to the CAO and mayor, so I think a motion would be appropriate.
So we have a motion moved by the mayor and seconded by Councillor Yankoff that we accept this proposal and to utilize Green Globes efficiency on 199 Grafton as their public benefit and add 2 additional stories. So all those in favor? Would be, and Landis in favor, I'm sure. Would be everybody. Thank you very much. It's good to see, like Councillor Yankoff said, it's good to see this project move forward. It's been, it's been a long time coming, but sometimes good things happen when you wait.
But we've done our due diligence,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
And good job on the staff's point, too. Okay, so moving on to number B of our discussions is the review of the 100-meter notification process under the zoning and development bylaw. So I think talking to some of the councils here on the board, we had some discussion on this, and we felt that we'd like to see it move ahead with some addition to it. Our CAO, Donna, also had a suggestion, and maybe if you don't mind, Donna, give a little explanation what you think might be an alternative to this whole process. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Chair, it's not necessarily an alternative. I would suggest that we ask the staff to do some research on this area and have a look at what other municipalities do. When you and I were talking that day, I was saying, well, maybe it would be 100 meters or at least 50 residents, or I'm not sure the proper word there, but to add another dimension to it. So I really am recommending that we have the staff do some research on it and come and take it back to this committee to see what kind of bylaw amendments you'd like.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, I think we need to seriously look at in circumstances, and it could be done by an individual project, but in this particular case, for example, the parking lot took up about 80 meters, or if not more, of the 100 meters. So no one got letters within that area. And then, of course, when we did the fire hall, the same thing kind of happened out in West Rory. Was the farmers' fields took up a lot of the meterage, and only a few residents actually got letters. So I think we need to hone that in a little bit and figure out, we not so much change the amount of feet, but like you say, something similar, like maybe, to a maximum of 100 or 50 homes or 50 residents. But Alex, if you want to answer that, feel free. and then Councilor McGee.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. By all means, we can look at it, but this is a very sensitive part of the appeal process. And the first thing that they go through at IRAC is, did you do the notice correctly? So again, we'll look at it, and I will work with our legal department. But the problem with the notice is that, and you may not know this, but if you're in the downtown, we're sending out 90 letters now, and then people call us because it's nowhere near the project. It's 2 streets over in somebody's yard, and then they're calling because it says call staff, and then we explained it, and then they in some cases they're indicating, well, why did you send me a letter? I don't care what's happening on that other street. So the fact is that at the bottom of every one of those letters it says, please call staff. So there is a balance. We will look at other jurisdictions. I will certainly make sure. But the more onerous you make that requirement, it's much more vulnerable to you didn't meet the standard. And then our other problem is, when you're notifying people, is a lot of people don't live in this community. So by the time they get the letter, if they live in Ontario, then these are all those little nuances that when you go to appeal. So again, I'm not saying no. We'll certainly review it. I understand the issue. It comes up on occasion. There are some land uses, could be some environmental reason. There's the smoke emanating from it that clearly go beyond the adjacent property owners. The notice works in 95% of those chances, but we will look at it to see whether we understand the concern. We'll see if there's an opportunity to make changes. But when you make the changes, it doesn't give you. The change has got to be that they never allow discretion, right? So they would never say. They typically don't say in a bylaw that to the discretion of either council or the development officer. So you have to, it's like this discussion the other night at council, it always has to be the same. So I'm just throwing that out as, but clearly I will work with Mr. Hooley, who, one of the first, on that shopping list when you're at IRAC, they first go through who was notified, did you meet the requirement under the standard of the 100 meters, and then you move through the succession of issues, but you can see sort of the complexity. It's dense in the downtown, massive notification for some smaller cases like a deck, but there are cases, this has happened before, where people that are impacted are not within the notification area. So we will look at it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCabe.
Thank you, Chair. And I think this even, when we talk about letter notification from planning, it's more about communication and best practice around how are we keeping our residents informed. So and I know we've had conversation, we get snow alerts when the snow plows are going to plow our city streets. And is there some way through maybe Councillor Yankoff's HR department, we could be looking at our communication department to find ways to reach as many people as possible? You're saying 50 residents, 100 feet, but maybe it's someone that's really concerned that lives 700 meters and isn't there, but they're more engaged in what's happening within the city and want to be part of. So I don't know if we can get communication back. Our website is really challenging. I know we've talked about that for a number of years, how we can make that a little bit more user-friendly. Is there a way we can find a way to plug in through communication? So people have a little accountability too. If you want to know what's happening with the city, maybe they have to sign up for an alert. An alert comes down and reminds them to check the website because here's what's coming up in planning. Just a thought.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Councilor Yankoff.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering if, just noting on what Mr. Forbes had talked about and the complexity of changing around the amount of distance when you're letting people know, would we be causing any, would it be okay for the communications department to put out a PSA and put information out, more so not because it's a rule, just because it's the right thing to do to keep the city interested? Whether you're living in Ward 1 or Ward 10, you might just be interested in the environment, so therefore you'd want to be part of it, or like, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, and maybe it's something that could be done through zones. We all know the downtown and the 500 lot, it's very congested. But as you get out, I just use the example of a gravel pit. Well, most gravel pits, let's say, for example, or paving or an asphalt plant or whatever it is, they're set in off the roads. well, there's your 100 meters gone. You see, like, that's the issue, right? Is that these applications where there's land involved, although it still affects the residents nearby, but if they're not within the 100 meters, they won't get the letter. So there needs to be some complexity, some thought brought into that, so that, and it could be, it's like you say, it might be somehow we rate it by population or by, but something anyway. And maybe it can be 100 meters from the outside of the property. If the government garage has 50 feet, well, then you don't start your letters until 50 feet where the edge of the property is. Maybe that's, I don't know. But anyway, you have,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look, all good commentary. So there's two issues here. What's the old expression? You can never communicate enough. So there's two issues going on here. I'm sure we can look at what Councillor McCabe has suggested, but the sensitivity is the requirement, the legal requirement, as opposed to the enhanced. Because the enhanced, because if it doesn't get on a website on a given day and you've got enhanced and it's a requirement, then that's a flag on the field that it didn't get posted. But if we just have our minimum standard, but we are somehow getting that message out. Some of these, there's old tools in the Planning Act. It says you must notify for a public meeting twice in the local newspaper. I think we all realize that the local newspaper isn't where the island, or the dew covers the island, or whatever it says on the Guardian. It's just a matter of people are getting their information in a lot of different sources. So we'll take that into account as a part of this. Thank you.
thank you very much. Any other questions on that, folks?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I know that this was stated by the CAO, Donna Waddell. Let's do a jurisdictional scan. Let's see what best practices are available elsewhere. So, Alex, you worked for the city of Fredericton. Did they use the 100-meter zone?
It's exactly the same, and there's a reason. And look, we'll look into it more, but there's a reason why a lot of municipalities do it the same way. But I do think there's something that we can bring to the table that would enhance that notification. That people are used to looking. Everything is on. Most people get their information online in some kind of a capacity. We'll look at the jurisdictional scan in regard to how other people are doing it. And again, the scramble to get those letters out on an application with 75 letters. The letters also come back to us. Every morning I come in on Monday morning, a lot of letters come back. The property's sold. It changes, but it's a very sensitive topic that if you're within the area, it's critical that you get notified. That doesn't mean we can't enhance it, but it just puts more onus to make sure that you meet that target, and those are more letters. And but we'll do the jurisdictional scan. We'll just give an overview in regard to how other communities are profiling that, possibly on their website, whatever they can do to get that message out. We realize it's in our interest. Thank you.
I guess you just brought up another point for me, but just to add to this, so the resolution that's on the table the other night and the resolution that will be talked about again this evening, that's not on the website. The residents are looking for it, and it's nothing's there. So I agree. The communication pieces are lacking. I don't know how you do, it's because people I've been asked quite a bit. How come it's not on the website?
Right. It's meeting the variance requirement standards. Public meetings are higher standards, and then they get more attention both in the local paper and possibly by our communications people. But anyway, we'll look at all of it and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Mr. Chair, yes, I believe it is on the website. It was posted yesterday afternoon. It'd be under the mayor and council meetings section of the website. The whole package is there with the resolution and the report and everything is there. That's our, Alex talks about, that's our standard practices, 24 hours before a meeting, it is posted.
Right.
So it is there. I think it's mayor and council meetings. I think that's where it is.
I didn't look personally myself. I just
No,
I had
no,
some
they're
residents call.
all-
But
yeah.
I kept saying if you go on the website,
Yeah.
you'll see it. But
Yeah, they're always posted.
yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Chair?
Any other? Nothing else on that one.
Yeah, just one,
Oh,
and maybe it's something I can take back to our next HR and meeting. and that is, we've had a lot of conversation around the inability to navigate through our current website. And, it's one of those things that it does need to be looked at, and it is very difficult to find things on the present website. It's, you're 10, 11, 12 clicks, and you're still shaking your head, so it is difficult.
It could be simplified maybe in some way, especially, okay, yeah, maybe the notices and meetings could be a separate identity instead of having to go through mayor and council and whatever. But anyway, okay, we'll look at that. Thank you very much, everybody. Great conversation on the notification process, and Alex will work on that, and we'll move on. Okay, any other, yes, introduction of new business. So under new business, we had the summary offense ticketing that the mayor had suggested he'd like to have a
Yes.
discussion on.
And,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I appreciate that you, again, provide the opportunity. I felt that we all always had to go back, Alex, to the Planning Act, which is a provincial statute. But if we look at the MGA, I know it's been looked at over the last couple of days, the MGA under sections 2226, subsection 3, section 227, subsection E, that provides a municipal offense ticketing, which is under section 226, subsection 3, subject to section 227, 227, a council may make bylaws authorizing the issuance of municipal offense ticketing for contravention of a bylaw. And then if you go down to section 227, subsection E, it states that right here, a bylaw made under subsection 226, 226, subsection 3 may authorize the issuance of municipal offense ticketing for contravention of a bylaw only if the bylaw relates to subsection 227E, planning and development control under the Planning Act. So we can do that. And I was speaking to our lawyers yesterday that this will be part of the amendments coming forward. Could you answer that, Mr. Forbes?
I can answer as a planner. Our lawyers are working on it. I do have a draft on my desk in regard to the summary, offense ticketing and the and summary proceedings bylaw, all of those things. We are moving closer, in primarily this, of course, came out of STRs, and that's my interest in it, but it's a corporate bylaw, so we are clearly including our colleagues that use that tool as well, fire department, bylaw enforcement. So because STRs are relatively new, and then the province had started down a road in regard to how they were prosecuting. So at any rate, we seem to be coming, I'm talking exclusively on STRs, sort of to a similar approach in regard to how we would formalize that process to ensure we get compliance. And I think it's much less onerous than what was perceived previously. So both the province is looking at their regulations as well as us in regard to STRs. And again, we do have a draft on the registration bylaw that needs to come forward to implement the STR bylaw in April, as well as the summary conviction bylaw that needs to ensure that compliance that comes with it. So we are moving forward with that, and I would suggest that we have made progress recently on that. So we will bring that forward to. I don't know that it even needs to come, well, you're going to need some additional work on the STR bylaw, so you'll see those provisions in there, but our lawyers have been working on that and having discussions with other parties to make sure that when we do implement that, it will be implemented successfully. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So if I can just, so we have to wait for the problems, or we need to be, we can't do it on our own.
No, we can do it on our own. It's just, I guess, there was different strategies on STRs as how they would, how the province would gain compliance and how we wish to gain compliance. And we were more desirous to make it a lot easier and less onerous. So I think they've been discussing with Crown prosecutors. Our people have been discussing with Crown prosecutors. We want to make sure when this bylaw comes in, if it's challenged, that we are not vulnerable on this issue. So it's taken a bit of time, and we feel that, again, I can't speak for the province, but these discussions are back and forth, and we would like to line up our regulations and work with the province as closely and apply similar penalties and, the prosecution of this, so that, if they end up in court, that they're saying, well, the province does it one way, you do it another way. So I think this progress is being made, but I don't want to bind the province to they run their shop the way they run theirs, and we do ours. But we don't need to wait. These tools are in place, and we will be coming forward with those implementing tools on the STR as to bringing it all into compliance, and we'd like to do that. The new council will be dealing with that sooner than later.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor McCabe.
More clarification, I guess, is when we're hearing STR, summary offense ticketing, but I thought summary offense ticketing was going to be for more than just STR stuff, and I'm wondering if that's what his worship's talking about when we talk about people breaching, like, their pool fence cup, for example, versus no pool fence, or when people are breaking bylaws, more than just STR. So is the focus, I'm sure the focus for planning has been on the STR piece, but is it more just on our bylaws in general that we were looking at? Because that's what I understood.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify.
Yeah, you clarify.
Yeah. I'm not talking about just the STRs. It's very important, because if we have a short-term rental framework with enforcement, that enforcement has to be ready to go on the 31st, April 1st, 2023. That's when this bylaw fully takes effect. But the reason I've been bringing it up, Mr. Forbes, because you and I and others have been in this meeting talking about someone that has built an accessory building without a permit, or has a pool without a fence, and we have no fines or a summary offense ticketing system in place. And I can give you some examples. Out in Orchard Hill Park, residents have told me that there are homes that are being used for businesses, and our bylaw enforcement officer goes out, and all he can do is advise a person, because he doesn't have anything at hand to issue a break-in, the home occupancy business permit. So, and Alex, and I agree with, I know you're pressured from many sides, but on Scott Street and throughout Orchard Hill Park, there are many infractions of what's taking place. And if we don't have the tools to issue a fine with a minimum and a maximum, and if someone disagrees with it, take us to court. But right now, for us to prosecute someone, we have to take them to court, which is a legal expense and a lot of pressure and a lot of downloading to Alex and his department. So that's why I keep bringing it up. And I can list off many streets in Orchard Hill Park, but the neighbors are saying our neighborhood that was built for R1 and R1 development and families and just a community is just eroding, because so many other different functions are happening in these residential properties. So that's why I keep asking for it, and I keep bringing it up for the simple reason I hear it at the door. I hear it from residents who call, email, or text me. Like, as I refer to a text that I received last night from a gentleman out in Orchard Hill Park. He listed up several properties, of which I will forward to you, Mr. Forbes, as a follow-up. But again, please, let's, not just for the sake of STR, but every infraction that occurs under the zoning and development bylaw. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alex, go ahead.
Maybe if you leave that with me and the CIO and I'll have a discussion. I mean, I don't like just randomly, but this is a discussion that's better directed to our lawyers in regard to the STR requirement has forced the review on the larger corporate tool, which includes planning. And again, they would be better positioned possibly, but again, let the CIO know I have a discussion in regard to what she feels is the most appropriate way to inform you. clearly my interest is in the STRs because, I can guarantee you I like to stay in the lane that I have, in the planning lane, because the planning lane's busy in regard to these other departments, but we're including them. But we would, I think that discussion, we will anticipate what we need to do there to inform you as to where we are on that in the most effective manner. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, and I look forward to it too. You know, for example, and the mayor brought it up, you know, I've got a couple of places where they're operating businesses out of the home. They're doing oil changes, you know, 7 and 8 derelict cars, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, for us to deal with that the way it is now, our bylaw officer would go out and see for himself to make sure, yeah, that's it, that's happening. And then he comes back to your department, you have to write a letter, right? And it's just a very lengthy process, and it would only, this would only take work off you, I think, if, that's how I would see it anyway.
But it's always going to be, whatever you do, you have to be prepared to go to court. And the fact is that you can't, in a lot of cases, people speculate what's going on inside houses, and unless we're in, we can't validate what's going on. So there is some fairly, the finding is one thing, but you have to do your due diligence well in advance, and that takes a lot of work. And I'm sure we could use some more bylaw enforcement, but it's not as easy just to start writing tickets. I mean, you need to be prepared. If they don't want to pay the fine, you need to be prepared to go to court and explain in detail what you've done to ensure that they have there is an infraction in the bylaw, and that there's no debate that there is an infraction in the bylaw.
Good. Thank you. And Councilor McCabe, but just one other point, Alex, and that's something like we're in the middle of a discussion now on, is, you know, the way things are right now, the residents, the homeowners have to just take whatever happens. There's nobody supporting them. And, you know, like you say, a taxi company, and you don't have to be a very good investigator to figure out if there's 7 cars there and there's just wheels off cars, and you know, I'm pretty sure that's not a home use, right? So, but it goes on and it goes on and goes on. So it's just, I agree with the mayor. It's been a frustrating issue, and hopefully we can see some light at the end of the tunnel. Councillor McCabe.
And I was just going to say, I don't think it's having to create a whole lot. It's maybe adding a step in what we already do. Whether, you know, you still, I believe, would have to send a letter. I wouldn't want to see someone coming out and ticketing somebody just because they have the ability or the opportunity to do that. I think it's just one more step you can add in, because for some people, the $500 fine's not going to matter anyway, and you're still going to end up, you're right, Alex, in court. So it's just one more step to give a little bit more leverage that for some people, it might be enough, but you guys figure that out as your people, and you can get back to us and see how we can keep going ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Great discussion.
But if I could add,
Yes.
Donna, you've been around as CAO of West Royalty or CAO of the City of Charlottetown. Anytime that we have to issue a contravention of the bylaw to any homeowner, it's a court proceeding right away. But with a ticket, a summary offense ticket, we issue the ticket. The person doesn't agree with that, he or she can plead not guilty. But now we can't issue a ticket because we don't have the system in place. That's why I keep saying it's like, there's best practices out there. There are communities already using it. We're not inventing the wheel here. So please have that discussion, and that'll be much
Mr.
appreciated.
Chair, we will get a report back to you on the status of where we are and where we're going.
Thank you very much. Alex, did you want to say?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, great discussion, and we'll be expecting to hear something eventually on it. I know the mayor's been asking for some time, so, and we'll keep asking. Okay, anything, you didn't have anything else? No? Okay, no other new business, so I guess my last would be a motion for an adjournment. Moved by the mayor and seconded by Councilor McCabe. All those in favor? Thank you. Enjoy your afternoon.